Hello, friends, and welcome to Leadership Happy Hour. I'm Chip Lutz, your host with Unconventional Leader. This week, I'm pretty excited. I have a really good friend of mine, Sporty King. My kids call Sporty and I kind of opposite twins, little ebony and ivory. He's my brother from another mother, and quite honestly, just one of the most genuine people you're ever going to meet. What I like about Sporty is that I've never heard him complain about anything. I've never heard him bitch about anything. Whenever you meet Sporty, he's always got a smile on his face, and his insights on things are pretty profound, pretty deep. My first time I heard Sporty speak, I was speaking at a speech competition, and there were like 6 of us that spoke, and Sporty was the MC. And at the very end, Sporty took everybody's speech and wrapped it up into a nice little poem at the end. And I just stood there with my mouth open like, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced in my entire life. That he considers himself the master of listening, and he is. You have to have outstanding listening skills in order to be able to do that. Me, I've got too much ADD to, I'm always over here, always there, chasing squirrels everywhere. But Sporty is able to hone in and pick out the little pieces and really connect with people on a very personal and profound level. So I want to welcome Sporty King to Leadership Happy Hour. Cheers, my friends.
Cheers, my brother.
From another mother.
Mm.
So, Sporty, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you come from?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me a reason to drink.
Just waking up this morning is reason enough, isn't it?
Oh, right, yeah. This
Drop mic.
Semi-legitimate. Because it's, I'm on Eastern time, so it's 6 o'clock. So we've been into happy hour for at least 2 hours now. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but I hail from the great land of Harlem, New York City. Grew up and raised in Harlem and New York, and 7 boys, 1 girl in my family. And we're now down to 4. I gotta do the math. We got 3 boys and 2 girls. Because then, then I picked up another sister through my father's second marriage, and what a precious thing she is. And I mentioned that because it's kind of like a segue into something we'll end up talking about later, because
okay.
Yeah, because it's funny how a lot of times people say, like, for instance, you say I pick up on the small things. A lot of times people say, well, that's kind of not on the topic. And my belief is that we're never off the topic. Because if someone says something and it takes you somewhere else, then to me that means it's topical. And it's just a matter of maybe bringing it back to the subject at hand. But if the thought takes you somewhere else, then that to me becomes a part of your creativity or maybe something that you needed to acknowledge.
Right. I like the way you put that. I'm a firm believer that most of the time we listen to respond. We don't really listen to hear. And we try to guide the conversation the way we want to guide the conversation. Even like thinking about, things like, with this interview, talking to you today, I've got, my paper towel with my notes on stuff that I want to make sure I hit, but I don't have like any questions written out. It's just like, I want to make sure that it's just organic and that we just talk about the things that we want to talk about, like we would normally do in regular life at a happy hour.
Yeah.
But it's, I think a lot of times as leaders, we try to push the conversation the way we want to push it versus just being in the moment with the person. Yeah. That, sometimes our presence is the best present we can give the people we're around versus, being on our phone or whatever else. So that's my one deep thought for the day. I'm done now. So.
No, but that was deep. And I think that's beautiful because the truth is leaders don't have to be deep,
No. It's usually scratch and sniff. That's as deep as I go right there.
Well, I worked at the Wall Street Journal for 18 years, where I started as a messenger, and when I left, I was a regional classified advertising manager. Well, in my final years as a regional advertising manager, I had a staff, 17 salespeople, and 5 territories. And so what I would always do is I would say to them, I said, okay, we're on plan A. Plan A didn't work. I said, okay, we're on plan B. Plan B didn't work. I said, okay, we're on plan C. So they got used to the fact that when something didn't work, I just switched to the next plan. And so they actually, after all, they said, Sporty, what plan are we on today? Because they were, are we on J, M?
Right.
And so then they said, well, what are you going to do when you run out of alphabet? I said, then we'll number the alphabets.
We'll go with double A,
Yeah.
double B.
Yeah.
That's just how usually how I like my women, double D, double E.
Yeah, where their initials are Dawn, Devereaux. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I was going with that. Absolutely. Sporty is a speaker as well. He does a lot of work like I do, pre and post deployment work with the military, but he also does a lot of work, leadership work. I noticed you're wearing your ugly shirt. I know that's an acronym. Sporty is a king of really cool, insightful acronyms. What does that one mean? Because I know it stands for something.
Yeah, UGLY is unique, gifted, lovable you.
Nice.
And it's actually my signature keynote speech. That just before I met you. In fact, did you know this, Chip? When I met you, the reason I was the MC at your contest, Chip was competing for the World Championship of Public Speaking. What year was that? 2008.
It was a long time ago, nearly a decade ago.
Yeah, and Chip was one of the finalists. And the reason I was the MC was because I had competed in the World Championship in 1996.
And that was the consolation prize? Did you get an MC the next year?
Wait, I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Tables, couches. And so, but what they do is Toastmasters they do. Past contestants become the MC. Mm-hmm. The higher the contest, they always make sure that the person who's the MC of the contest has competed at a higher level than the contest.
Right.
And so this UGLY was actually my speech that took me to the World Championship.
Oh, cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. My speech was called How to Be Ugly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know that you give another leadership speech on how to get an F in leadership, right? That's one of your titles.
Yeah, and it's connected to this in a way where what I did is I took the negative and twisted it into a positive, because one of the things that I believe is that we have to not let our control your vocabulary. Don't let your vocabulary control you.
Right.
And so in my leadership style and my belief in life is that if we change our vocabulary, we can change our lives. And so we want to focus on having a positive vocabulary. So I'll often open with my How to Be Ugly speech, which disarms the audience, because, when I come out and I'm talking about I'm ugly, and when I show how I turn that around and make it a positive, now I can walk into how to get an F in deployment or how to get an F in leadership.
Right.
Because I think that the letter F gets a bad rap. Yeah.
Right. Well, the poor little letter F always gets a bad rap. I feel so. He's like the Eeyore of the alphabet. He's just so sad.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting, what you said, is that sometimes not only having a positive vocabulary outward, but I think our inward vocabulary, the words that we choose to say to ourselves, like I'm constantly having conversations with myself. I mean, the problem is my lips always move when I have conversations with myself, so I look a little crazy. But what's been nice about that is that when you have a Bluetooth earpiece in, it's not as bad. You don't look as crazy. Anyway, I think that it's important for us to have that a positive internal word choice as well, because a lot of times, our natural
inclination.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Is to I was looking for a bigger word like proclivity, but I couldn't think of it. So our natural inclination is to we're kind of like go through a negative cycle on stuff. That fight or flight. What am I worrying about? What am I going to do? But sometimes we need to shift that a little bit. We need to stop ourselves and talk a little more positive, think more a little bit in possibility versus, the crap and minutia that we deal with every day.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had advertised this a little about diversity, looking at diversity and leadership. And like I told you, my whole diversity talk would be treat people like people. But for me, I'm as AWB as they come. That's me. That's how I live my life. So if you were just, giving me some tips on how I can, as a leader, be more inclusive, what would you be sharing with me?
Well, first we'll take a step back, and this would be a part of it, to share what the 5 F's are.
Oh, okay, good deal.
Okay, because they're all, just as we finished talking about positive vocabulary, my 5 F's are all positive. They're focus, faith, fun, friends, and freedom. And,
I like all that.
Yeah, and each one actually breaks down into another acronym. And we'll come around to that maybe or maybe not, but we will. But because each one of them has a component of leadership that makes a difference and matters. And as we attach it to diversity, I think probably the biggest key is to recognize that I don't have Webster's definition of diversity, but it means differences, and it's valuing differences. I think a lot of times people get shocked, like for instance, maybe when we announce this session and someone sees that, oh, Sporty and Chip are going to talk about leadership and diversity, and then they probably instantly go to black and white or race. Right. But diversity, it includes age, sex, educational background.
Sure.
And so as a leader, the first thing you have to do, it goes right back to what we're talking about in terms of controlling your vocabulary rather than letting it control you. Don't instantly define what the word is. So when I hear diversity, I don't instantly go to, oh, okay, we're going to talk about race. Now I'm doing what you said earlier. How'd you put it? I love the way you put it. People they just listen. They don't.
People listen to respond. They don't listen to hear.
Yeah, and so that's what you're doing if you instantly let the word mean the only thing or the most popular thing that it means.
Right.
And that's not leadership.
No.
Yeah. So that would be, if I had like a less than a minute nugget, that would be it. Is to first, like you said, be in the moment and let yourself know the possibilities of what people are talking about, because as a leader, your job is to enhance the possibilities and bring about new vision, so that then you can, once you bring the new vision, you should have a good enough team where everybody has a stake in that vision. It's is that the vision? Well, you know what? Here's what I can do toward it. Hey, here's what I can do toward it. And now that's where you go.
Where you're being a lot more inclusive on, it's good, because I think that everybody brings something special to the team. As leaders, we need to reach out and know what our team members are capable of and really leverage that. A lot of times we pigeonhole people in a certain, like you said, it's not about race. We pigeonhole them maybe in a certain skill set.
Yeah.
And that, this is what they do, but we don't know that their special gift is really over here. Mm-hmm. And that's where they have the most fun. That's where they're the most creative. That's where they're the most productive. And that unless we really get to know them as people, we're never going to know that. We're never going to we're going to leverage that for the benefit of getting things done. I mean, what we're trying to do is we're all trying to get stuff done, and we can't do it unless we really know what the skill set is.
Yeah. And see, this is what I said about how we'll end up getting to all the F's. You just mentioned the word fun. Well, fun is one of the F's, and fun stands for friends understand needs. And so if you surround yourself with the right teammates, everybody understands what they need to be doing and what you need them to do. And so that's what makes you go forward, because then fun also stands for fight unit negativity.
Cheers. All right.
Cheers. We'll drink to that, because you've got to get that negative spirit from around you. I call it from in your first 5 rows. You know,
Right.
everybody deserves to be in your first 5 rows of your life, because that's where you get a lot of input from, those first 5 rows.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to make sure you've got the right types of friends who understand what you may be going through. Or as again, this is, again, Chip, is, I mean, we could get into mutual admiration society here, but you know, it's, it's like you say, the people who are listening to what you really need, rather than this. I mean, it's great to have customer service where you anticipate the needs as a waiter or a wait,
Right.
but
Yeah.
when we're talking about relationships, you can't overemphasize or over anticipate what somebody needs.
True. Absolutely. It's interesting.
That was my deep one. That was
that was a
I
deep.
saw your eyes. That was.
I'm gonna give you a little hand clap on that one there. There we go. Having grown up in a military environment, I always looked at it as that I didn't really care where people were from, what they did. All I ever really cared about was getting things done. We all had a mission to take care of. We all had things we needed to do. Like I said, that's where knowing our people really helped, us leverage that. What are some of the things you've seen, like best practices for leaders on, breaking down those barriers and really getting to know people as people versus, let's face it, we make value judgments on people the first 4 to 5 seconds we meet them. I mean, as soon as we meet them, we're already like putting them in some kind of box. They fit here because it doesn't make us bad people. I mean, it just makes us people. That's just how that's how we're wired.
Mm-hmm.
But as leaders, we need to kind of realize that's the case. We're always trying to fit somebody into our own schema. So, what are some things you've seen leaders do that have really, from your own experience, some of the best leaders you've worked for that have been able to break down those barriers and build a bond with you?
I think that number one, they should, even though I'm not in their mind, but flipping the script, when I was in my leadership role, I think that everybody is justified in automatically being judgmental when they meet you, because you look like somebody who did X, Y, Z to me.
Yeah.
So if, depending on whether X, Y, Z was good or bad, I automatically put you in that box.
Right.
So now, if it turns out that it's a bad box, and really even if it's a good box, but more importantly, if it turns out it's a bad box, what I have to do is be willing to let you come around the wall and prove that you're not that person. Because the wall goes up, but I've got to at least be open to say, I recognize, look, okay, I know why I'm putting up this wall on Chip, because he reminds me of Skip. And so, but I've got to say, now that I know that I've done that to him, I'm going to at least be open enough to give him a chance to show me that he's not Skip.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I think you have to first justify in your own mind, in your own spirit. Don't feel bad. You're going to judge people. I mean, we like the cliche, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what that's saying. That's a judgmental cliche. If someone got over on me once, I'm not going to let it happen again. So that means that, therefore, I'm going to automatically judge the next person that comes, and it looks like this is what they're going to do.
Right. Well, that's almost like a form of PTSD, isn't it? You're going through, something similar, or seeing something similar that you've gone through or seen before, and you're automatically, attributing, certain factors to it. So you're just, making, certain judgments based on what you previously went through, and your heart starts palpitating. I get that. I mean, I'm a pretty forgiving person. That's why I stayed with my first wife so long. It's just the way. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm going to send her back, by the way. It's been long enough.
Yeah. You're so serious when I said that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you're going to do that. That was the typical, like, psychologist, social workers stare. There we go.
Wait, but you know what? It's so funny because you mentioned PTSD. And even when I'm speaking to the military, one of the things I'll say to the group, I say, look, by the way, you don't have the market cornered on PTSD. Anybody can have PTSD.
That's
it's post-traumatic stress disorder. It does not say military post-traumatic.
Right.
That may be where you got it from, or maybe that's where it got triggered.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, and we're a little off topic, but we're still on topic based on our first conversation because it is what it is. Is that that's what people don't get about that? Is that it's really not military or combat specific. It's just life specific. That anytime we have a traumatic experience, like say with my ex-wife, I should say, not staying faithful within the marriage, that gave me certain issues. And that, that when I see something or feel something that's similar, I automatically go there. I'm taken back to that moment. My heart starts going here, and we have these little things that we have to then stop and deal with. And I think what's interesting is that the same way with like you're saying with the people that we deal with in our leadership realm, our different teams, we might have had a bad experience with a certain leader previously or a certain type of person previously, and that as soon as we go to deal with that person, if it's it might be a difficult situation, we automatically might start reliving it and running a certain script in our head that it's going to be like this. It's going to, and that we predispose ourselves to a certain outcome versus just being open to what may be as a leader. That, if we're in the moment, we get rid of the minutia, we get rid of the past, and we just connect one-on-one, regardless of anything, diversity related, race, color, whatever, sexual orientation. I can't get proclivity. I can't get it out of my mouth. It will not leave out of my mouth. Anyway, if we get rid of all that, then we can connect and really move our teams a lot further than we would otherwise. Because we're not getting in our own way. A lot of times we just get in our own way. I mean, would you agree with that? What do you think?
Yeah, you're so right. Because I was going to say, because it's hard. It's very hard to do that because like you said, you've got all the past is also a great lesson. Everything we do in the future is based on something that was learned in the past. So we've got to find a way to take the best out of what happened in the past and make it work in the future. But in the process of doing that, sometimes we hold on to something that it was best in the past. It's not necessarily really still the best, but so in the process of holding on to no, this is the way we do it, then we don't get out of our own way. And now here's where the diversity in age comes in. We got a rookie or an intern, young person come on board, and we decide they don't have enough experience to help us with this project.
Right.
When in fact, their inexperience is probably what will help us with the project, because they're going to come up with something that is almost like, it's like, are you kidding? But it's like, okay, we'll try it.
I like that because I just had this conversation. My guest last week was Scott Lesnick, and we talked about generations in the workplace, which is another facet of diversity. But our young population, I've got 4 millennials that live in my house, or I have 4 millennials that are my children. They don't live there anymore because they're older. But and a lot of people get all upset about their whole what they would call sense of entitlement. But I look at it as positive expectation. I look at it as possibility. I look at it as possibility. Is that sometimes all I can see is what I know, and I get so stuck in this when my blinders on. Is like this is the way this is, and it's one of my kids will be like, well, why don't you do it like this? And I'm just like, ta-da! And I never thought about it like that. It's like, why don't I look at it like that? And I think that a lot of times, like you're saying, with our younger people, with anybody, when we shut them out, we cancel out that possibility. We cancel out that experience base that can really, not only expand our own horizons, but expand the horizons of the team as well.
Yeah, and it takes us back to what you said earlier when you asked me about tips to give a leader. I've got two great things from my past that I'm very proud of, and both of them are from when I coached community league basketball in Chicago. I was coaching 8th grade, and we were in the championship. So now we were actually the number 4 seed out of 16. but we beat the number 3 seed, we beat the number 2 seed, and now we're playing the number 1 seed in the championship game. And they're beating us the entire game, and then we finally caught up, and we passed them with 12 seconds to go.
Wow.
And so cool, right? But one of my guys stole the ball, and he goes down, and he missed the layup. Well, first of all, I couldn't get upset because when he stole it, naturally, in a grown-up state of mind, I would want him to have hold the ball out and let the clock run out.
Right.
But when he stole it, it was just a natural reaction to go for the basket. And so I couldn't get mad at that. Well, he missed the basket. The other team, the number 1 player in the league, got the ball, came down, and we were up 2. He hit a 3-pointer from the key. And so as soon as he hits the basket and they go up 1, one of my guys, Rick, turns to me. He said, "Call a timeout, coach?" I said, "Right." And just the fact that he didn't panic right there and thought about calling the timeout was part of the victory. But once we got in the huddle, I said, "Okay, here's the play we're going to use. Chip, you're going to do this, blah, 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 blah." And then one of the kids, Court, says to me, "Hey, coach, why don't we do this?" I said, "Right." Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
And you know what? The play, it worked. We didn't make the basket, but we got our last shot.
Right.
And so we ended up allowing, again, this is where, like you say, this is where leaders got to be ready to be flexible. Number 1, like, he had a better idea than my age-old plan.
Right.
He had a fresh idea of what they wanted to do. And I said, then let's go for it. And even though we didn't make the shot and we didn't win the game, now I was able to say to them at the end of the game, we got the last shot of our season. And that was the life lesson. That was more important than winning that game. I mean, we would have liked to win.
Sure.
But at least we can say we got a last shot and we had one more chance versus, oh man, if we would have gotten another shot, we would have done. No, we didn't get to say that. It was like, we got the last shot. And so, and a lot of those kids are actually now my friends on Facebook. And, and so it was a great lesson.
That's a good point you make, that we have to, part of the diversity circle is just being open to new things, not being stuck in our own mindsets, but allowing ourselves to, in a way, be malleable. That, everybody brings something, like I said at the beginning before, everybody brings something new, something different. And that if we've got our own conversation, I always tell people that, a lot of times as leaders, we run a certain script. They say that generals fight the war of their youth, meaning that normally we lead the way that we were taught when we were growing up. So that's how we fight our wars, based on what how we grew up. But a great leader is the one that sits back and kind of reflects on, why is this the way it is? And how can I do a little bit different? How can I open myself up to something a little bit different? And I think what you said in there was very, very key and very, very profound, that, instead of running that script and having a mindset, well, this is our play, this is what we have to do. This is, we went over these plays before. How come you guys aren't remembering them? Is that, you opened yourself up to, is like, hey, maybe somebody on the team has got a better idea. Maybe we're not going to win, or maybe we're going to win, maybe we're not. That's the long and the short of it. However, even at the end, even though you didn't win, it was still a win for the team, because you got that shot, and it was a win for you personally, because you opened yourself up to, the people on the team. And I think that's a great lesson for anybody who's thinking about diversity and leadership, regardless of anything you're looking at, is that, just opening yourself up to the possibilities of the people on the team. So,
in fact, it's one of my acronyms, and you just now hit on the head. WIN, what I need. Everybody has a personal.
I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you. This is what I need. I need a little drink right here.
No interruption Cheers. At all. But everybody's got a happy hour. Yeah, everybody. Excuse me. Everybody's got a personal win, and that's what a leader has to understand. For instance, one of my favorite analogies is when the Chicago Bulls had a dynasty. A personal win for Dennis Rodman was not how many points he scored, it was how many rebounds he got. For Michael
Really?
Jordan, it wasn't the rebounds, it was the points. And then he took it to another level, how many steals he got, how many assists he got. As each member of the Bulls understood their personal win, now they put together a dynasty because everybody had a different job to do. And so that's what we have to recognize, that in your life, whatever team you're on, whether it's your family, sports, military, a job, you're on a team where if everybody gets their personal win, what I need, they can put together a dynasty.
Wow. It was almost like drop mic. Drop mic. That was awesome.
And then back to what you said about being malleable and not saying here's how we do it. You know how now when we watch basketball, whether it's college, high school, professional, even football, what do they do when it's the time? That few seconds on the clock. Football is a field goal, and basketball is a free throw. And then what does the coach decide to do? Ice the shooter, right? They call a timeout to try to ice the shooter to make them get uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
I'm coaching a game. Again, this is my high school team now that I'm coaching back in Chicago. And we're playing this team. We're up 3 points with less than, I don't even remember how many seconds to go. And we foul a guy who shoots a 3-pointer. So he's got 3 free throws.
Uh-huh.
And as it turns out, he's a kid that played for me the previous year. And so he's on the other team. And so after he, hits the first free throw, I call a timeout to freeze him, right? He hits the second free throw. I call another timeout to freeze him again. He hits the third free throw also. I think they won the game. I don't even remember who won the game. But after the game, when we were talking, he laughed. He said, "You know what, coach?" Because he still called me coach. He said, "You know what, coach? If you hadn't called those timeouts, I wouldn't have had time to calm down to hit those free throws. I probably couldn't have hit 3 in a row. But in each timeout, I got a chance to go back to the bench and have my team encourage me and let me know that they depended on me and that they believed in me, that I could do it." Gave me a coaching lesson. So leaders have to be open to be coached. And see, now that I've been dying to coach so I could be in that situation again.
That is it. But that's not easy as a leader. I mean, it really is not to be able to be coached. I think about that, especially because there are a lot of different dynamics. Like we said, we have people in certain boxes, whether they're younger than us or they remind us of somebody that we really don't like. And, they come to us with, an idea. We might automatically be like, no, that's not going to work. Yeah. How do you get past that? I mean, what would you, if you were coaching me and I've got these predisposed notions on these people that are on my teams, like they suck, what would you tell me to, do to get past that so I could be open to being coached?
Mm-hmm. Well, I number one, I guess I'd take it back to my first F, which is focus. Focus is finding ourselves, create unlimited success. See, we have to focus on us, not on the other person. Focus on you and let other people come into focus. So if there's, and you actually, you actually put it in a scenario, you've got the problem with the person. There's nothing wrong with the person. So what you've got to do is identify, what is my bias against this person? And what do I have to do to get over it? Because I can't ask them to make any changes so that I'll like them. Because now whatever they change to for me is going to be something that they might not like, and now they may become even more disruptive. Right. And so now it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I knew I didn't like this person. Because you changed, you didn't let them be who they were. So the advice I always say to people: put yourself first. You know, a lot of times we think we have to put our family, our spouses, our children first. I believe you have to put you first, because you can't help anybody until you help yourself.
Absolutely. Two things that you said
Go.
there. You know, first thing is that what you were saying there, that takes a reflective leader to, you know, actually realize that it's not the other person, it's them. And, you know, I think that, how should I say it, that reflective leaders are few and far between. And that when you get one, and I worked for a few that really understand the whole leader-follower mix, and, you know, that it's not always you, sometimes it's the situation stuff. I mean, it's been awesome to work with those people. The second part, I'm trying to think of where I was going with that. Never mind, I can't remember it now. It's just like it left my head. So never mind. I had a profound thought.
There was not the reflective, it's the helping people. Helping you can't help anybody till you help yourself.
Oh yeah, and that's what I always tell people too, is that you can't take care of anybody unless you're taking care of this right here. Yeah. Is that if you know, emotions are contagious. If you're all stressed out as a leader, you can bet your people are going to be stressed out, because you're setting the tone, you're setting the pace. Yeah. You know, everybody's going to fall in line to what you're doing. If you're all nervous, they're going to be nervous. If you're worrying, they're going to worry. So, you know, you've got to get your mindset before you even leave the house in the morning of like, you know, this is my game face. I don't care what happens. You know, I've got it going on. You know, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to spread, you know, the good morale throughout the workplace. I mean, I'm a human being, but, you know, even though you're a human being, you've got to be almost like a step above human, so you can be of benefit to your people. That, you know, and, you know, you've got to do the things that you need to do to take care of you. That instead of, you know, eat lunch at your desk, get away from your desk and, you know, take a little walk if that's what works for you. Go to the gym in the morning. You know, whatever, you know, kiss your wife, whatever works for you, that me candy is that you got to take care of this and before you can take care of anything else. I like that you mentioned that. Thanks for reminding me. I was trying to make two thoughts at once, and that's always difficult for me. Two thoughts at once, hard.
Well, you just actually gave me a new one where you said you have to remember to be a human being. I think you also need to put that in the mirror, and you have to be human. You know, because there's a spot that a lot of leaders forget. They forget to be human. You know, even if we look at, you know, the analogies I've used so far, two of them have been kids and coaching basketball. So wait a minute, no, I'm corporate. That doesn't have it. No. An analogy is analogy. Where you get it from is not important. It's that you get it.
That's what I tell people all the time. The only secret to leading people is that it's all about people.
Yes.
Ta-da! Yes. So you can buy all the books you want, you know, like Leadership Secrets of Squirrels, Leadership Secrets of Jesus, the Leadership Secrets of Donald Trump, whatever. The key, there is only one secret, and that is it's all about people. Each person is different. Each scenario is different, and that you as leader need to adjust to the person in the situation versus waiting for them to adjust to you, because newsflash, they're not going to adjust to you ever. Yeah. You've got to think about and reflect on, okay, what's going to work here? How do I connect with this person? You know, how do I find out what they're, you know, what's in it for me? You know, how do I connect them to value? And again, going back to what we first started talking about, that's about breaking down barriers, you know, breaking down the barriers of whatever they are, whether it's age, socioeconomic status, you know, race, color, you know, sexual proclivity. Damn it, I still can't get inclination, orientation out of your mind. Why can't I get that word out today? I practice it all day. Anyway.
That's why.
That must be it. Anyway, we need to know how to break those things down. And so, awesome.
In fact, we've got like the word adjustment. We've got to take the word adjust and really stretch it, because I like to say no and yes. You know, no, anybody will never adjust to you, but yes, they will. They don't have to adjust to you. They have to adjust to the team. Because it's not personal. I mean, there's one of those cliches. It's not personal, it's business. But It is personal
It
because
is
it's business.
It is personal.
So yeah, you know, and then for goodness sake, especially in the military, one thing I always say to them, it's not about whether or not you like somebody, it's respect and protect.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you know, you don't have time to say, you know, I don't want to be serving next to someone with this. I'm just messing up proclivity so that you don't have to feel bad.
Thanks. I appreciate that. See, that's
But yeah,
the
you don't get
oneness we have.
Yeah, you don't get to say that. Do I respect this person?
Right.
And can they protect me?
Right. Well, and I think that's an important thing to think about. Like I said, I never cared about, you know, anything. Like I grew up, you know, see, I joined the Navy mid '80s. I served through,
God, you don't look 80.
yeah, mid '80s. You know, through I did 22 years, so I retired right before 2010. And so I went from, you know, everything from, you know, we'll just look at sexual orientation, from, you know, completely zero tolerance to don't ask, don't tell, and that I served with people that, you know, were gay and lesbian. It never affected their service. I didn't care what they did. It make any difference. All I really cared about is that, hey, you got my back when I need you to have my back, because I'm going to have your back when you need me to have yours. And that's what I don't think people really get, is that it doesn't make it. Nothing makes a difference. You know, none of the differences that we have makes it. You know, it doesn't. What we need to look for is the things we have in common, and to know that, you know, if I know of you as a person, you know, people don't fight for policies. People don't fight for plans. People don't care about. So people fight for and are loyal to the people that they serve with, that are next to them. And that's not just true in the military. That's just true business wide. That if I've got a personal relationship with you and I'm working with you and I know that you got my back, my loyalty is going to be with you. I don't care what happens over here. You know, if you're my team leader and I know that, you know, you've shown me, you know, honesty and trust. I know you're a person of integrity. I might not always like you because you have to make sometimes bad, you know, hard decisions, which are hard, but I get that because you're honest about them. That, you know, I know you got my back because I'm going to have your back. And I think that's what we really need to do when we're looking at, you know, focusing, instead of focusing on the differences, focusing on like how we can build those, like I said, those connections before. I'm just repeating myself. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, we learn through repetition. And so sometimes I got to. Sometimes I laugh when people say, "Oh God, we got to hear this again." Yes. Yes, because we've been socialized to learn through repetition.
Right.
When you go take it all the way, what baby, infant has not had to learn that to not touch the stove when it's hot? Then constantly hearing the word hot, hot, hot.
No.
Right. They constantly hear that word. And so they, you know, but as soon as you turn your back, they have to touch the stove so that they can understand what hot is.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, and now, and when they touch the stove and it's hot, you don't say, "I see you little stupid crap. I told you it was hot." No, you're like, "Oh, my poor baby." And so now, you know, so this is how, you know, we start to learn it. Okay, so
you sounded like my dad there. That sounded just like my dad.
Yeah. But we're twins. We're not father son. Okay, we're brothers. but the truth is, you know, the tone in us being taught, you know, we've been no hot, no sweetheart, no. And then as they get a little older, as we socialize a little older, you're 10 years old, you should know better by now.
Right.
Where does it say what you should know at 10?
Yeah.
You know, something.
No, my dad told me that. My dad told me that. He actually took my hand and put it on the stove
when
it was on, so I would know that it was hot.
PTSD. See?
He's like, now you know.
Because you didn't know what you didn't know. Hey, look, I wrote something down because I was listening, and I love when you said how sometimes leaders don't seem to get it, that people are people. I think that leaders do get it. I think that what happens is they forget that they're in that group. You know, they get it that people are people, but they forget that they're one of the people. And so then suddenly they decide, well, no, that doesn't happen. You don't feel bad. They're gonna tell you, you don't feel bad.
The floggings will continue until morale improves.
Until morale
you are fine.
That's one of my favorite ones. So again, what a leader has to do is similar to what they say in sports, that you have to have a short memory.
Yeah.
Once you make a mistake, you have to get right back into positive and go about trying to win the game. You can't stand there and say, "Oh God, I just committed a foul. I just made a turnover." You can't stand there and cry about it. It's like, "Oh, okay, I messed that play up. Let me get on the next one, or let me get it within the next 2 or 3."
Right.
Even if you look at baseball, somewhat people make the Hall of Fame in baseball based on their hitting, and their batting average is 300 something. 300 something is less than 1 out of 10. No, 3 out of 10. It's 3 out of 9 would be a third.
That's like a 30%. That's not even a C.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Right. Yes. There you go. See what I'm saying? Go figure. See, F is figure. Go figure. So, but that's considered excellent. If you can bat 3 out of 10, is considered really, really good. So therefore, when you make that one mistake, what you need to do now is start looking for another 9. or at least look for the next one, so that you can get 1 out of 2 and you can get 50%. It's always about just constantly, even something we said earlier when we were talking about being flexible. Once my plan, if I had a plan and then I decided to go with the rookie's plan, and then we still didn't win the game, I instantly have to now. I can't go to, "Oh man, I should have listened to my plan. You screwed it up." I have to instantly go to, "Okay, let's look at the good thing that we got out of it."
Right.
That's my job, is to get you ready to make another go at it, rather than to have my team give up. So you've got to be a one hell of a cheerleader if you're going to be a leader.
I'm with you on that. As far as something that leaders don't do enough of is being the cheerleader. We kind of like the accolades and we want people to cheer us, but really it's almost reverse, where we have to do it. We need to be in the trenches. I'm a firm believer that you need to be in the trenches, working alongside your people, rather than breaking down those barriers to just like if you want somebody to follow, you have to go first. So I can't expect anybody to do anything that I'm not going to do. So if it's a crappy job, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do it with you, just so you know that I'm willing to do it. I've stripped and waxed, decks, what we call it, floors. I've done every crappy job out there, and so it didn't bother me. I'll work alongside you, so that I'm willing to do what you're going to do. So sometimes it's a double-edged sword in some ways. Is that sometimes that when you've been there and you've done that and you've worked alongside, you can empathize a little too much with I know it's stupid, it really sucks. However, it builds that respect level with your people, where they know that you've done it, and if you're asking them to do it, that it's not anything that you wouldn't do yourself.
Sure.
Stupid or not, crappy or not.
Maybe you wouldn't do it, but it's not something that you haven't done. Maybe you don't want to do it anymore.
Right. I don't have to do it anymore.
I want you to get your personal win.
Exactly.
Look, one, by the way, and right along that vein, I think one of the biggest things that all leaders need to do: catch your people doing something right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
High
five on that. Bam.
Yeah. So much time is spent on trying to catch people doing something wrong and correcting it. Catch them doing something right and empower them.
Right. That goes straight with, I believe that the entire office space, entire workspace is a Skinner box. That, if you really want to, improve, behavior, then you need to do something with the behavior you want to see. So, catch people doing something right, a little positive reinforcement can go a long way. If you're not familiar with, Pavlov's or Pavlov or B.F. Skinner's work, it just, those are the motivational theories that work the best. I found is like, if I want to see a behavior, I've got to do something with that behavior, whether it's reward it, ignore it, put a little negative force on it, whatever it is, I've got to do something with it. Otherwise, I'm never going to see it again, or I'll keep seeing it when I don't want to see it. So I think that's important. Catch people doing something right is a great way to show a little positive reinforcement. We as humans, I think, all want to know that in some way, shape, or form, we provide value to the end.
Yeah.
That's it. That work is more than just getting a paycheck. That at some point in time is that we spend 80% of our time slaving away for the man, doing all this stuff. It's got to mean something more than just the money that I get at the end of the week. I've got to provide some kind of value. I got to know that it means something, and that catching people doing something right, tying them to value helps do that. Where maybe you don't have the money for bonuses, maybe you don't have the money to throw stuff at people, but a little positive reinforcement here in the way can do everything, leveraging what you don't have to get what you do want.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good. And you know what? I like that, especially when you talk about getting what you want. Let me not sound like I've only got management lessons from coaching kids. When I was a sales manager at the Wall Street Journal, when I got promoted into being a sales manager because I was a good salesperson. And I call that the corporate mistake. But but I didn't know any better. I'm thinking that's what I want. I'm climbing the corporate ladder.
Sure.
Okay, I got a promotion. What's my next step?
Right.
And because fast forward, I really didn't want to be in management, but I thought I did. I really should have stayed in sales a little longer. And but anyway, got a plus out of it, because that was one of the reasons I end up retiring, was because I couldn't go back to sales. So it was time for me to go on. But the point I wanted to make is, like I said, I had 17 people. And so I came in with this preconceived notion of what a sales manager is supposed to do. And
running that script. Yep.
Yeah. I came in, I've gotten promoted from being a salesperson to being a sales manager. So therefore, all of my sales practices must be the right ones. And I'm going to teach everybody to do it my way. So oh my God, I looked at their work. I sent comments and this and that. Oh, I just really tore them down. It didn't know. But the blessing is, after 2 months of being a manager, and again, this is to me what a good manager's lesson should be, I decided, okay, now let me see how I'm doing as a manager. Because I knew that it was my mindset was pure, and so my intentions were good. So I sent out a survey to my 17 people that they could answer anonymously, send it to one location, typed up, and then get it to me. And to grade me as a manager. 17 people, right? 15 of them couldn't stand me. Couldn't stand my guts.
That's awesome.
One of them was on the fence, and my secretary liked me. Because my secretary knew I would tell her what I was doing. So she knew that I wasn't really, being mean to these people. Right. I bounced stuff off of her and said, look, I'm going to do this. And she saw that I was trying to upgrade their skill. So anyway, now I've got this barometer of, 15 out of 17 people that can't stand me. What am I going to do, right?
Oh, hold that thought. So before that, you were sleeping great at night. You're like, oh, man, I'm doing awesome. Everybody loves me. I'm Sporty King.
Go Sporty.
They're going home and they're telling their wives and their husbands, like, I'm the man. Sporty's the man. And then you get your wake-up call. This is awesome. Please continue.
Right. Yeah, right. And now for the wake-up call, right? Well, so yeah, you're right. I was feeling great, and when I got them, when I read those results, oh boy, did I shrink. However, I then said, okay, I screwed up. Plan B.
Yep.
I called a sales meeting, brought my 4 outside officers. I brought them in. There were 2 people in each outside office, a sales rep and an assistant. So I brought the sales reps in, and I said, okay, I sat them around the table. I said, okay, let's start over. I had the first official sales meeting that we could have. And I said, let's start over. Here's what I did. I said, so now, I said, here's what I'm going to do now. I'd like to go around the table and ask each of you to tell me what motivates you. And I'll start, and this is how you made me think of this. I'll start by telling you what motivates me. And that opened up the conversation. And, because money is not my motivator. So,
right.
So therefore I talked a little bit about myself, and then we went around the table and each person then told me about themselves.
Right.
And in the process, I became a great manager and leader. They became great friends. A lot of them still are. So.
That's what it's interesting to mention that, because that's what I consider like the 3 pillars of leadership: of knowing yourself, knowing your team members, and knowing how those 2 things come together to get mission done. That's it. I mean, I got to know who I am, what I bring. I've got to know you, and I've got to know, how I can leverage all of that in order to make mission. Now, think about your story. It'd been funny if you sat him down and was like, well, I want to know what motivates you. And then I was like, let me tell you what motivates me. People that are compliant and don't say a lot. That's what motivates me. That would have been hilarious.
They can only do that on sitcom.
It wouldn't be a great leadership story. It would just be a great story, period.
Now pack up your stuff and get the heck out of here.
Don't let the door hit you on the ass. So great conversation, looking at the things that leaders should look at as far as diversity, how to break down barriers, build bonds between people. I really appreciate the time you spent with me, sharing those things. We're on the same page on a lot of different things. Like I said, for me, and I said, for those of you that just joined us, we had like a few people that weren't here before. A diversity talk for me is just, treating people like people. And from our conversation, that's really a lot of it, isn't it? And, breaking down those barriers and just getting to know people as people. Getting rid of our preconceived notions, getting rid of the script that we're running, getting rid of all that stuff, and just connecting with people on a personal plane. And that, what you said at the very beginning was really important, that being in the moment with people is more important than anything. Not thinking about, what happened before or what's going to happen next, but just being there with that person and listening to what they're really saying. Awesome. Now, normally you put your glasses back on so we can look the same. Now, normally I always do this on Leadership Happy Hour, that if Sporty and I were at a bar, I would challenge him to do something that he didn't want to do because we're drinking and so forth. But since we're remote, I'm going to ask him a few would you rather questions just to get his personal opinion on things. So I've just opened the book up randomly. I'm going to ask you a few if hopefully they're not too questionable. All right. Sporty King, moment of truth. Would you rather live in a world that is comprised of Legos or of Play-Doh?
I would prefer Legos.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason I would prefer Legos is because as much as Play-Doh may sound malleable and flexible, like one of those politically correct answers, I like the, I need some rigidity in my life.
Nice.
I've got plenty of flexibility.
Nice to add a really serious spin to something that I'm trying to make fun. Nice. All right. We'll see what you can do.
And there's more colors.
We'll see what you can do with this one, Sporty King. Would you rather have permanently undulating belly fat, or have an uncontrollable romantic attraction to heads of lettuce?
I'll take my glasses off so that I won't give you a deep answer. I'll go with the lettuce.
I'm not going to ask you to go into that one. All right.
Well, because I don't know what that
here's my last
big
one.
word
Last,
you use on the
my
stomach.
last would you rather for you. Would you rather, Sporty King, master of listening, sneeze inward or fart inward?
Ooh, wow. I would rather fart inward.
Okay.
I actually haven't one of them deep answers for this.
Oh, please do share.
Yeah, and what it is I love it. It's one of my favorite moments in my speaking business. I was doing my how to get an F in deployment class, and so I gave each group an F: focus, faith, fun, friends, and freedom. And so I said, why is being focused important to your deployment? And so as I'm walking around, I gave them time that they had to discuss it. As I'm walking around, I come to this table, and one of the airmen, she has written fart. And so, yeah, so I stepped over and she doesn't see me coming. So naturally I catch her off guard and I see that she's written fart. And so the whole table is now like, ooh, like oh, the teacher caught you type of thing, right? Ooh, what? And I mean, it just froze. What's he going to say now? He's been up there saying all this be positive stuff. Now what's he going to say? And I looked at, I said, oh, fart. Fully able to retract our thoughts. I said, that is one of the most important things in communication. When we focus on ourselves, it's recognizing that we don't have to say everything that comes out.
Nice save, Sporty King. Nice save.
Yeah.
I see. I just would have, if it were me, and I just would have ripped one. I was like, yeah, that would have been it.
Oh.
But you're much deeper than I am. Much deeper. Much more.
I'm having fun. Let your creativity go.
After this, if people want to find you, where do they go? What's your website, or how do they get a hold of you, Sporty?
Yeah, www.sportyking.com.
That's SPORTYKING.
Yep, .com.
King, phonetically,
and that's
just
not a proclivitous word.
Spelled just like it sounds. Well, cool. I appreciate you spending the time with me today. Again, my friend, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. I mean, you're so genuine and you're so insightful. I miss seeing you. I only get to see you like once or twice a year in person, and we get our snapshot together, and it's always nice. But I miss that. I miss that time with you. But this is second best. Second best to be able to spend about an hour with you. For those of you, I'm Chip Lutz. So you can find me at unconventionalleader.com. Please visit Sporty King's website. He is a fantastic speaker. Go to my website. You can sign up for my newsletter. I don't try to sell you anything. I'll just, share my leadership thoughts with you. Thanks for joining us for Leadership Hour, and thank you, Sporty, for spending your time with me. Air high five.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. You got it, brother.
All right, buddy. I'm going to hang up now. Thanks.
Okay. Over now. That was too cool.